you're going to put your hand on the wall, and then you step the foot closest to the wall forwards and against the wall, so it's pulling this arm back. Then you take this shoulder and try and move it back, and you hold it there. So you do that with your arm out straight behind you, bent and slightly higher, and out straight below. And then you would do the other side as well. Then we had the carpal nerve floss. So again, you've got your flat wall. You pop your fingers facing down against that wall, like that. And then you would just move your head away, forwards and backwards. Start nice and low, and you're trying to have a flat hand against the wall. So you're getting a stretch through the forearm and up here. And that's really good for anybody who suffers with carpal tunnel, so pass that on to anyone who's pregnant and suffering, because it's a great stretch. Forwards, backwards, ear to your shoulder, and then move it up. And you just go as high as you can, keeping that wrist against the wall and being able to move. Then wall slides. So imagine the wall is behind me. So you're making a snow angel, but with bent arms. So like this. So the wall will be behind me, trying to get your arms onto the wall and going up and down. Remembering what I said about headlights. So we don't want to get our arms against the wall if we have to bend like that. We have to be able to keep dipped headlights here to get that range of movement. You can also do that lying down, so on the floor as well, and you just find your range. So if you can only get to there and there, start small and build it up until you can go the full range. Then a wall slide. So wall is in front of me here, imagine. Got my forearms in front, got my hands facing each other, and I'm not stood too far away, and I'm just sliding up and down, keeping my elbows and my little finger against the wall. So you adjust where you need to stand to make that happen. But again, that's working these muscles in the back to combat that posture that working at your desk and computer and driving and things like that has. A twist. So again, here's my imaginary wall. One hand against the wall. You're going to take your hips backwards, and you're going to take your hand onto your opposite shoulder. And then you're just going to twist so the elbow comes up and then down. Up and down. Without moving the hips to get more movement. So the hips stay straight, hand is against the wall for support. You just go as far as you can. You'll feel like you're not getting very far, but that means it's a true rotation of your spine. So that's what we want. Standing exercises away from the wall. Thumbs up. Start nice and low and just take them in and out. Remember, we did this one with a band, a long band. So if you have got one of those, great. If you've got the mini bands, you can do it with that as well. Round, in and out. In will feel much more natural. Out will feel like a bit more of a stretch. So you do it at the bottom with a resistance band if you've got one, and then take them up and round. Again, focusing on the thumb coming backwards like that. That's your focus. Then we've got the one where we're a waitress or waiter. Elbows into your sides like that. And you're going to take your serving soup and then you're tipping it out. Serving, tipping it out. Again, serve and tip, but don't tip your whole body. So keep those headlights dipped. Meet yourself where you're at. There is no right or wrong range, but you don't want to pinch your range from your spine as opposed to the mobility of the rest of the body. Retraction. Okay, so scapular retraction. These are your scapulars. They've come to be more like underneath your armpits rather than down your back. So all you're going to do is stand against the wall or against nothing, and you just pull them back and push them away. Pull them back, squeeze your shoulder blades, push them away. Again, not with your whole body. pull, push, pull, push. Takes a little while to get used to it, and it takes a little while to disassociate the rest of your body from doing that movement. Pelvic list, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see me, but if you can, your feet are forwards and we're looking at your hip bones. So imagine these are the hip bones. We're taking one hip bone up without bending this leg and then down. Ideally, you would do it stood on a book or a platform, so you could do it on like your bottom step. So I'm stood on my book, hip bones, hip bone comes up, hip bone drops down, but without a bend and without pushing the hip out. So it could just be that you have a centimetre of movement, but you go up and down. From the side, if I can balance my book, up, down, up, down. So both sides of those. Seated was the chair twist. So we would sit with our back of our chair and we would put one hand across the leg and try and look behind us, like some people do to reverse. Behind. And then you'd go the other way, like that. Making sure when you're sitting, you're perching on your sit bones. So those bony bits here, you're sat right on the edge of your more adequate chair than my little stool. And you're just sat perched on there, because that will help you to be working here rather than relaxing back and not working anything, letting the chair do the work. So sitting there, sit down, stand up. So feet are beneath your knees. So there's a 90-degree angle here, so they're not tucked under. And then you would stand up and then you would sit down. I'm not going to do that because that stool is not going to stay where it is. To sit back on your sit bones and then stand up again, breathing out. And then the neck pull. You would sit on your chair again and just use your hand to pull and stretch all these muscles here. So it could be anywhere, right down in there. And then you can add gripping underneath your chair and pulling again, and that will just change the position. Round, round. Mine is pretty much mostly the stretches up there, and then you would do the other side. Remember, there were quite a few more that we did with bands,